Hey everyone, you're watching an interview I did for TYT, The Young Turks, and it's all about animal agriculture and how to adopt a plant-based diet. This is the third part. So there's two other parts that you have to watch. So make sure that you watch those. The first one is all about the guests. They're awesome guests. The second one is about factory farming. And this one you're gonna love because it's really heartwarming. So enjoy. All right, after watching some of the horrors of the factory farming industry, some very hard to digest footage, we are going to supplement that with some really heartwarming footage. So I had the opportunity to visit the Gentle Barn, which is an incredible farm here in the greater Los Angeles area. And I met with one of the founders. Her name is Ellie. Watch. Hey everyone, Sam Shocker here, and today we are at the Gentle Barn, my favorite place to visit here in Los Angeles and to support. It is an incredible nonprofit that helps rescue and rehabilitate severely abused animals, and it uses animal interaction to help special needs children, at-risk youth, and to teach empathy and compassion to everyone who visits. So they're doing a lot of good here, to say the least, and today we're going to give you an inside look. Stay with us. They're excited. Can you hear them? I love all the open space that they have.
Yeah, and they run around in the mornings when it's cooler.
Who's this guy?
That's King.
Hi, King.
We rescue animals that are too old, too sick, too lame, or too scared to be adoptable by anyone else. And we rehabilitate them and give them sanctuary here for the rest of their lives.
This is one of the pigs. Every time I visit Biscuit, this chicken's here. So are they friends?
The chickens always hang out with the pigs.
That's so funny.
Love you, Biscuit.
Bye, Biscuit.
When I was a kid, I felt very lonely, and I felt like I didn't fit in, and it was always animals in my darkest times that brought me back to life.
Ellie is in a trance. She's getting a lot of love from Buttercup.
So I know firsthand the healing properties that animals have, that they could really fill you with worth and unconditional love.
She's full on cuddling you right now.
So she was rescued from Thanksgiving last year. Every year for Thanksgiving, we find a place that's going to sell their turkeys for slaughter, and we rescue some and bring them home. They were terrified of people.
Of course.
And here they are in our laps. So it was always the goal of the Gentle Barn to do two things. One is to rescue animals that nobody else wants and give them sanctuary and rehabilitate them and let them know that they have value. And then when they're ready, have the animals help us heal people with the same stories of abuse and neglect and remind them that they have value. I think the turkeys would like to be interviewed also. These children are going to grow up and be the next generation, and this environment and this planet and the animals are going to be in their hands. If they're connected to it, they'll do right by it. If they're not connected to it, it's only going to keep getting worse. When we operate from greed and violence and domination and what feels good for us right now and not thinking about the future and not thinking about others, that is going to lead to illness, to pain and suffering, and to the destruction of this environment. But when we operate from gentleness and kindness and peace and love and reverence for other beings and for all beings, then all of a sudden our bodies are healthy, we are surrounded by neighbors that are happy and healthy as well, and the environment and this planet flourish.
I'm so happy right now. I am fully sandwiched by two loving cows.
Honestly, the greatest thing that people can do to support us is to adopt a plant-based diet. When one person adopts a plant-based diet, they save 198 animals every year. They also save an acre of trees every year, and they also save 600 gallons of water a day.
Wow.
Not to mention the health benefits.
When you're informed and when you're educated, then that breeds empathy. And I think then that breeds action. You've come a long way. And I think that's exactly what I'm seeing here at the Gentle Barn. That's why it's so important, and I'm so glad that we were able to be here today. So touching, and it just shows that there's so many people out there, including yourselves, including Mercy for Animals, including Gentle Barn, that are doing right by animals. And I think we need to, look at your face. You're part of that team. You are part of that team.
I tell, don't I, every time I do something for him or with those people, like, that's why I busted my butt to get here. I really appreciate this dude. And I told him that. I said, man, you know, a lot of guys can just be an international model and just go off, but you use your model money and all your good looks.
Model money?
You use all your good looks just to know. But I say that, I just think that it's amazing that they're dedicated to doing something like that.
Thank God. And if there was one part in the video that you weren't able to hear, but in the audio, Ellie talked about the assessment, her assessment was at the Gentle Barn, they teach compassion to animals, and they invite the public to come in and learn empathy and learn compassion. And they also use, once the animals are rehabilitated, it could take some time, but once the animals are rehabilitated, they use that animal interaction with children, at-risk youth, and special needs kids to help them heal as well. So what do you guys think about that assessment?
Well, I had an experience recently. I went to another animal sanctuary, farm sanctuary.
Yes.
And as I said, I've been a vegan for 29 years, and I love animals, but I live in an urban environment, and I rarely get to see animals in person. And I went to this farm sanctuary, and I saw this cow named Paolo. And I looked in Paolo's eyes, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, he's an individual. Like, you forget, like, because we don't actually, like, we go online, we read information, we look at videos, but actually seeing an animal in person, looking in its eyes, and you realize, they have their own life. They have their own wills. They have their own rights. Like
feelings. They have feelings.
It's not an abstraction.
Right. Yeah.
You know, each animal is an individual with a profound emotional life and a profound ability to feel intense pain and suffering. And it's this thing that I keep coming up against that makes me not a huge fan of our species is that, like, what does it say about us that we're confronted with defenseless, vulnerable animals, we harm them. Right. Like, there's no greater indictment of us as a species than that simple fact. Like, the correct response to something that's defenseless and vulnerable is protect it, take care of it, extend kindness to it. You don't torture it.
But to some people, they think they do when it comes to, like we talked about earlier, cats and dogs. So why do you think there's a disconnect when it comes to having compassion towards our pets and a farm animal? Per se.
I think part of it is people don't know cows, pigs, and chickens. People share their homes with dogs and cats. So as Moby said, we know them as individuals. We know that they have a sense of humor, that they have wants and needs, and they have best friends. It's the same with farm animals, but they are so absent from our view. Most people will never meet a cow or a pig or a chicken. And pigs are actually more intelligent than dogs. When we look at these creatures, they are just so fascinating. They value relationships with their families. They do everything they can to avoid harm. And you know, as Moby was saying, I think how we treat the most vulnerable among us says a whole lot about who we are as people. And it's hard to imagine a group more vulnerable to cruelty and exploitation than farm animals.
Yes.
Another problem is, I don't think people understand dogs and cats. This is what I said, because I remember I saw back in the day, somebody was wearing a coyote coat.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a dog.
Yeah, right.
And then they sit around and they wear a fox. That's a dog. And then I see people go and kill big cats. Right? They kill big cats and then they have it laid out and they think that makes it.
They think it's a rug.
But it's a cat, right? They don't get it.
Right. Yeah.
And not until, and even if they were eating dog and cat, which pretty soon they probably will start thinking about how to do that, we have to get inside of their brain in a different way. My daughter Tyler's with me now. She was 13 when we watched Earthlings. I didn't know Earthlings were going to, I thought it was, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And she watched Earthlings and I'm watching her cry.
Powerful film.
Right, but to me, I'm like, oh, did I make you feel bad? And then I saw her cry at the Notebook, so she just cries. No, so I'm just...
Same.
But what it did is it established that never can you go into a place and go, oh, it's just one shrimp. Right. Like I established with my daughter from an early age, this is not acceptable. This is wrong. This is not to be done. And a lot of people don't do that. And a lot of people, like, they do the same thing when they have, I say to people when they have a baby, you breastfeed? Oh my God, I couldn't really latch on, only 6 months. And then I gave it a cow's milk. Right. That is, I said, but she's not a cow. They just don't, they're gonna get it.
Right.
They're gonna get it because they're gonna start watching. When you do any of this thing, it's a dog and a cat. So when you see him with a chicken, if you see him with beef, if you see him with pork, just tell them it's a dog and a cat.
Right.
Their brain then slows down.
And I think too, to have more farms like this, rescue farms, like Farm Sanctuary and Gentle Barn. So please visit a farm sanctuary near you. If you're in the LA area, the Tennessee area, go to Gentle Barn, go to gentlebarn.org. It's an incredible organization. You can actually donate and sponsor an animal right now. Right now they are sponsoring turkeys because of Thanksgiving, and a lot of turkeys get slaughtered for the Thanksgiving holiday.
The beautiful thing about sanctuaries is these animals really serve as ambassadors for all of the other animals that are suffering on factory farms. The truth is we can't rescue our way out of this situation. 9 billion animals in the US killed every year. We have to address it at its root cause, which is people eating these meat, dairy, and egg products.
And I completely agree. I put out a book a few years ago called Gristle, and it's about the consequences of factory farming. And when I did the book tour, there was this recurring question, and a very legitimate question. People would say like, oh, but animal products are inexpensive, you know? And I was like, there's a reason why animal products are inexpensive, subsidies. We subsidize, our tax dollars subsidize every aspect of animal agriculture and animal production. Without federal and local subsidies, a pound of beef would cost around $40. A gallon of milk would cost around $15. A family of 4 going to McDonald's without subsidized food would be spending around $90. So really, one thing that I'm hoping we can do over time is stop subsidizing animal agriculture, which kills people, kills animals, destroys the environment, destroys local communities, harms workers, and it's all subsidized by our tax dollars.
And we all can make a difference just by adopting a plant-based diet.